So that rookie armor on Baldwin's Rust set has been tied to a friend's fatal crash back in the day. So an insurance company for the rookie Rust armor in charge of weapons when Alec Baldwin accidentally shot dead his cinematographer, allegedly, reportedly paid her close friend's family 50 grand last year so she couldn't be sued after he was killed in a drunken motorcycle crash. So the Hannah Gutierrez Reed's friends Tyler Dyer wrecked his motorcycle in Arizona after attending a party with her and her boyfriend Aaron Butcher in August last year, TMZ reports. So the 24-year-old former model allegedly told police she saw Dyer and Butcher drink 4 to 5 beers each at the party, but still gave her boyfriend, who was already on probation for a DUI, the keys to her own motorcycle so the two men could leave, the outlet reported. Gutierrez Reed's boyfriend was only supposed to be driving vehicles that had a breathalyzer attached, which her motorcycle didn't have, according to the outlet. So the men were riding alongside each other after leaving the party when Dyer lost control and crashed into a wall, according to authorities. Butcher crashed after trying to avoid colliding with his friend. So cops said in a statement at the time that speed and alcohol appeared to be blame for the crash. So Dyer died days later after being airlifted to a Las Vegas hospital while Butcher was treated at a local hospital and released, police said. And Gutierrez Reed's insurance company ended up paying Dyer's family 50 grand as part of a settlement that meant she wouldn't face any litigation over the crash in the future. So Gutierrez Reed made headlines after it emerged she was the armorer in charge of the weapons on the set of the Baldwin's Rust film when his prop gun fired last week, killing director of photography Helena Hutchins, and no one has been arrested over the incident, but criminal charges have not yet been ruled out, according to the cops. Now, another thing to really understand and why this is even like worth mentioning, right? The reason why this is actually worth mentioning in this whole situation, right, is that it shows that she has a track record of making poor choices, right? So you have this story where she literally saw her boyfriend and her friend drinking alcohol and gave her drunk boyfriend, who was already in trouble for being drunk and driving, right, her keys to her vehicle, which is also technically a weapon. It can be used as a weapon, right? So, one thing to learn from this, have very good car insurance, right? Two, this is not the only time that she has had lapses in sound judgment, right? Apparently, not too long ago, there was also a story about her basically almost getting fired, or at least pausing this, like the recording of a set for like a movie, because she allegedly gave a gun to an 11-year-old, right? That's kind of weird, right? Then you also got to think about that she was like scared to even load blanks into a gun. Then there's also the whole super weird situation about live rounds being around guns at the Rust set, right? Like there's a lot of poor choices continuously, right? Like this isn't just like a situation where like, hey, I screwed up once or maybe I screwed up twice, but I'm making better choices now, right? This is a situation where she actively sees things going wrong and decides, you know what, I'm going to go do the thing that I'm not supposed to be doing, or the thing that is not really sound judgment or like common sense, right? For one, it's common sense to not give your drunk partner keys to a vehicle so they can drink and basically be drunk or driving drunk, right? DUI, driving under the influence, right? It's common sense to not hand an 11-year-old a gun that might be loaded, right? It's common sense to not have live rounds in guns on a movie set where they are going to be pointing these weapons at people, right? It makes common sense to not use these things for target practice where they're being used to film certain scenes, right? So it's just like, feel free to give your thoughts if you stumble upon this, but this is like a situation where you can learn, okay, financially speaking, the lesson to learn from this is like get extremely good insurance so that if something bad does happen, you could protect yourself and basically help get yourself out of like issues, right? Basically kind of preparing for like the worst possible scenario ever. By the way, if you hear that like weird like whine thing, it's a husky. Huskies whine nonstop. Like they whine nonstop. That being said, get very good insurance, especially car insurance. Get very good health insurance because you never know what might happen to yourself in a very random situation. You could be perfectly healthy in like a health situation. Like you could be working out every single day, you could be doing cardio every single day, but you could still end up getting like cancer or some sort of like random tumor that you need really good health insurance to be able to take care of, right? And get very good life insurance if someone relies on your income, right? Like, for example, let's say that in this situation, right, they had like a kid. Her and her like late boyfriend, whatever, had a kid, right? Or ex-boyfriend had a kid, right? Or even her friend that ended up dying. Let's say like her friend that ended up dying had a kid that relied solely on his income to survive, right? If he ended up having very good life insurance, right, to the tune of like about 10 times his annual income, that money could easily support the nurturing of his kid. Like his parents could end up basically taking over like the care for his kid, but be able to fund it with a very good life insurance policy payout. So that's something to really think about too. Like I know a lot of people like think like, hey, nothing bad is ever going to happen to you. But guess what? Some things can happen to you in a very bad way that is very sudden. This is why anytime you end up driving, you could end up dying, right? Anytime you drive, you could get into a car accident, right? So if you do not have good car insurance, if you do not have good health insurance, if you do not have good life insurance, things could end very badly for you in a financial sense, right? Like a car accident can literally destroy someone's financial life, right? If you do not have good car insurance, right? Which I discovered this not too long ago, but apparently a lot of people get basically the bare minimum for the car insurance. So like when you do your car insurance like program or plan, right? A lot of people only get like the 25K coverage, right? That is far too low, right? Like if you're someone who drives any amount of time, right? And has a somewhat decent car, right? And even if you don't have a decent car, right? Get very good car insurance. I'm talking like 6 figures at least of coverage in a car insurance situation. And the reason for that, even though it might cost a little bit more per month, when something happens, because there's definitely going to be something that ends up going to happen, you will be 100% protected. Because with the $25,000 plan, you could be severely screwed, right? Let's say that you're driving a car, vehicle, whatever, right? Your car might be worth like 10 grand, right? Okay. The car you end up crashing into might be a Tesla, a brand new Tesla. So if you only have like $25,000 coverage, guess what? That's not going to cover the full cost of repairing that Tesla, which means you are on the hook, not the insurance company. The insurance company is only going to be on the hook for that $25,000 like plan limit. You're on the hook for the other $25,000 plus, right? Not to mention if there's anything dealing with like health bills. So be very careful and get very good insurance to protect yourself. That is the whole point of insurance, is to protect yourself from extremely catastrophic financial situations. Okay? By the way, if you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go to 40inbox.com, because when you're out of debt and you have a good financial foundation, you could weather through a lot of things. Even this rookie armorer, right? Even though this whole thing is super bad, if she had a good, strong financial foundation, she could weather most of the storm by simply relying on a lawyer, right? But if she is so stressed out, right, to where she needs to basically, like she's basically living like paycheck to paycheck, and she's trying to potentially find and like scrounge up some money or get loans to end up hiring a good lawyer, she could end up being severely screwed, right? But hey, if she was out of debt, if she had money in the bank, if she was already investing money into her future, she could liquidate her investments and pay for a very good lawyer to help protect herself, right? Because who knows what truly happened in this situation? No one knows yet, right? All the details haven't been released yet. But that being said, if you are in a good financial situation, you have more options available to you and you protect yourself. So stay tuned for more news commentary.